My name is Tina Weymouth. I'm from the band The Heads, and you can find us in The Hang. We were delighted to hear this group called Chibamata. I thought that was excellent, because here are these girls who grew up in Japan, and they have, when we called them up on the telephone to ask them if they would do some work with us, in fact, they said, "Oh, you don't have to introduce yourself, because, you know, in Japan we have 2 dogs, one named Chris and one named Tina." So we pretty much figured, oh boy, we called the right people. Here you have Tim Simonon, who's half Scottish, half Filipino, and Michael Hutchins, who's all Australian, but grew up in Hong Kong, speaking Cantonese in our kitchen, while our poor cook is swooning and fainting because he's just brought her a flower he broke out of our garden. And there's a phone call from some beautiful model by the name of Ellie on the other, you know. So we had some really interesting, different kinds of experiences for us. Everybody was different. Maria McKee came, and I'd love to tell you about Maria McKee in a bikini. But I imagine you probably want to hear more about the music.
We recorded all the backing tracks in 2 weeks. Me and Tina and Jerry and our guitar player Blast. Literally 2 weeks. And then it was like 2 years to get all the singers together in front of the microphone, because, you know, first you'd have to get them to agree to do it, and then you'd have to encourage them to hurry up and write it, you know, the vocal, because we were asking the individual singers to write their own lyrics so that hopefully we would get something that was surprising and better than something we could have done ourselves. And so there was the period of waiting for them to do the writing, and then there was the period of waiting for them to relax enough in front of the microphone, and some of them we were meeting for the first time, so there was this period of getting to know you. I was pleasantly surprised that it sounded so like hot and vivacious. Even some of the slower grooves have a kind of burning intensity that I, for one, appreciate. The album artwork was done by Tina on a computer on our Macintosh, and well, wait, I take that back. Part of it is painted by her, and then the graphic design was done on the computer. But it's kind of like, in a way, it's reminiscent of jazz covers. I guess of the people in my band, I'm probably the least computer literate, but I'm also one of the most sensitive.
We've always been the Heads, you know, end of discussion. And but I do want to say, you know, you don't want to confuse this band, which is a new band with new singers, with what we did before, which was the Talking Heads. It's a different thing. We have 2 Macintoshes, different kinds. One of them we use exclusively for music. I don't want my kids going in there and messing up with the memory chips, because the kids, they totally play with everything. And the other one is, we do let the kids do, but it's constantly having to do repairs and stuff, because they always think they know what they're doing. And they bring over their little genius computer friends who think they know what they're doing, and they start downloading all kinds of stuff from, you know, from the internet, and pretty soon you've got all this weird stuff on your computer that you really don't want. Kind of like junk food, computer junk food.
We haven't been living in a cave for the past 10 years. We've been, you know, living a pretty cool life. We go to clubs. We go to a lot less like late night things than we used to, but only because like we have a life now. In the daytime, that is. Well, I think a lot of people think that at least Tina and I are kind of into just funky stuff, or I guess they expect that from the Tom Tom Club, but we also like the more autistic rhythms, sort of the stuff the new kids are into, you know, that backward and forward motion.
It became clear to us that that David was very happy with his solo career and was not going to be joining us in any near future. And yet there was work for us to be done, so we had to carry on forward. We had begun to jam with a friend of ours who we'd known for years, Blast. And we played some of the stuff that we'd been jamming for Jerry, and we said, "How do you feel about playing again?" And he said, "You know, as good as producing is, I miss it, so I wouldn't mind doing this at all."